This is a fantastic thing. They picked great markets. These ownership groups, I think, are going to be all in. And the league is in such a good spot that I think the investment and the competitive level is going to be really high. And I'm excited to see this league continue to grow and be what it should be, which is a premier sports league in America. And in many ways, it already is. Right now, though, the other big story that's floating out in the world of sports today is the WNBA announced that they will have not one, not two, but 3 more expansion teams coming, including in 2030, Philadelphia. And the reason I highlight Philadelphia, not just because that is the geographically closest team, but because Josh Harris is the owner there. All 3 teams will, like the Wizards are with the Mystics, be owned or co-owned by the current NBA owner. So in Philadelphia, the Sixers will be the brother team, if you will, adding a sister team to Josh Harris's portfolio. So now, on top of the Commanders, on top of the New Jersey Devils and the Sixers and the English Premier League team that he owns and all the other things that Josh Harris does, he will also have a WNBA team under his purview. And that's really exciting for the league. Philadelphia is a great sports town. It is a great women's sports town specifically. And it has not had the chance to have a women's sports professional team in a long, long, long time. I do believe back in the day they had a women's soccer team in one of the leagues that did not survive. But in the NWSL period of things, and especially since the NWSL turned into the behemoth that it has become, a genuine money-making enterprise that is successful, that has TV distribution, that is a real, like, bona fide, big-time league, Philadelphia has not been a part of it, but has always been rumored in expansion talks. Detroit, which has a long WNBA history, and Cleveland are the other 2 teams. Cleveland has been hankering for a team and has been fairly supportive of various women's sports efforts over the years. Detroit is interesting because they had a WNBA team. The Detroit Shock was very, very good, in fact, back in the day. But this was kind of in a more struggle period of WNBA history. The investment was not there. And when you don't invest in things, you can't get any return on investment. And so despite the fact that Detroit is I think, well built to support a WNBA team, it is going to get one now and hasn't had one because the first time they had a team, they folded. This is not a new thing for the WNBA, by the way. Portland had a team very, very briefly, and ultimately they pulled that team. They are now going back to Portland. So the league is currently 12. Or sorry, no, it's currently 13 with Golden State. It was 12 coming into the season. 13 Golden State now added. The Valkyrie are selling out Chase Center every single night. And they're doing it without any real stars. It is one of the most bizarre rosters in the league. It is probably I have never heard of her roster in the league. It's a lot of international players. They were hoping to get a big free agent in the offseason. I think, namely, they were hoping that Kelsey Plum would sign there. And Kelsey chose L.A. in kind of a sign and trade deal where Jewel Lloyd went from Seattle to Las Vegas. Kelsey went over to L.A. and then Moore went back to Seattle. Actually, what really went to Seattle was the number 2 pick, which turned into Dominique Malunga, the 19-year-old French phenom. So, Golden State was hoping to get involved in that. They ultimately could not. They have made do and have actually played very, very good basketball this year. So I thought they were going to be terrible, which, fine. They're an expansion team. They're not supposed to be good, but they're right around 500, as the Mystics have surprisingly been, with the youngest roster in league history. And I think this is obviously it's a tremendously exciting time for the league. It's also a terrifying time for the league because you have to get this stuff right. And this much expansion this quickly, I think is challenging because how do you fill these rosters? There's clearly enough talent to go around. In fact, today there was kind of a surprising trade. Nilissa Smith, who's a former top 5 pick, got traded. She was with the Fever for the start of her career. She signed in Dallas in the offseason and got traded today to the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces then in turn cut Elizabeth Kitley, the former Virginia Tech star and teammate of Georgia Amore, who's now, of course, with the Mystics, missing the season with a torn ACL. But, Elizabeth Kitley is not a good, she's not, it's not oh my God, how could they cut Elizabeth Kitley? But, she's a WNBA player. And there's plenty of other players like that are like genuinely good enough to be one of the bottom 30 players in the WNBA that are kind of on that level, probably not really rotation players, or maybe could be back-end rotation players, but they're out of the league and don't have an opportunity because there aren't enough roster spots. It's a small roster league on top of being a small league. But my concern is, as these teams expand, is there enough top-end talent? And more so than that, can they find a way to make sure that if there's teams that are being built up, like if you are the Washington Mystics and you have all of this young talent, are you just going to lose somebody in an expansion draft? Because that feels dirty. That feels crappy to me. I don't want to see an Aaliyah Edwards, a Shakira Austin, a Sonia Citron, a Kiki Iriafen, Georgia Amor. They have 3 picks next year, I believe, as well. 2 or 3 picks next year in the first round. Whoever those picks. I don't want the Mystics to have to make those kinds of tough decisions every single year from 2026 to 27, 28, 29, 30 as these new teams come in year after year. So I don't know how you avoid that unless you just say there's no expansion draft. We're not doing one. And teams can sign free agents. We'll give you better draft picks, however they want to do that. In the past, they have given the expansion teams the first pick outside of the lottery. So maybe you want to give the expansion team lottery odds and add them to the lottery. I think that's an interesting idea as a chance to get a star. Obviously, they will have cap space because they will have a literal blank roster. But making sure you manage the roster mechanics of this. And this is something, by the way, the great thing about this is the players should have a say here. The players are in the middle of CBA negotiations. And the CBA is going to be completely different because players are pretty dug in on certain things. The money is so different now than the last time they signed a CBA. And so, and I think WNBA players, more so than even other players in other leagues, in part because they're not paid as much, care about the control of their own lives in a way that if you're an NBA player, it's like, what am I going to do? I'm making $13 million as a 8th guy on a roster. If I get traded, I get traded. I'm getting paid a lot of money. If you're a W player making 6 figures, and not even like high 6 figures, low, your number starts with a 1, just to get traded in the middle of the season without any consent, like there's going to probably be some pushback from the PA on that. Or, hey, I signed to play here. I signed a multi-year deal, and now I'm just in the expansion draft. Like, what the hell is that? So that's something to watch for. But ultimately, like, the main point is, and I feel like I just did a bad job because I didn't celebrate this. This is another sign of how healthy the league is. This is a fantastic thing. They picked great markets. These ownership groups, I think, are going to be all in. And the league is in such a good spot that I think the investment and the competitive level is going to be really high. And I'm excited to see this league continue to grow and be what it should be, which is a premier sports league in America. And in many ways, it already is.
What's up, kiddos? It's your boy Clinton Yates from ESPN. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980. Tell your mama I said what's up.